which can result in cardiac arrest. I mean, he was very fortunate, that it hit him where he was. If he had just been out running around, taking care of his own business and not in a facility like he was, he might not have made it.
Well, I just got my email notification. We are live on YouTube. So whenever your clock says 1:30, Wayne, we're missing Brent, but everybody else is here. So we've got quorum.
All right. Yeah, Joe and Carol sort of snuck in on me. I didn't see them.
Yeah, I just slowly got on. Everybody doing good?
Oh yeah. How about you?
All right. I have 1:30, so I'll call the meeting to order. And Greg, if you'll put the flag up, we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance.
There you go.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, under old business, if no one has any corrections or changes to the minutes, they'll stand as emailed to us. And do we have any conditional and preliminary approval updates?
We just have the Tiana Estates sitting out there that we're either waiting on the paperwork for the roads or to have a resubmittal, whichever route they want to go.
All right, well, moving into new business. Do we have a motion?
I move that this commission receive and file the application for the proposed subdivision of property filed by IB Park LLC, Kenny and Susan Robinson, Bruce and Helen Davis, Doug Carroll, Dale and Wanda Hopper, Mary Elaine Bartlett, Chris and Carson Hardman, Henry Frank Spear.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Call roll, please.
Commissioner Metzger,
Aye.
Commissioner Rankin,
Aye.
Commissioner Young,
Aye.
and Chair Elliott.
Aye. All right. Who's making the presentation for IB Park?
I will go ahead and make the presentation and do the staff report also. This here we have seen a couple of different times, a couple of different ways. This is the back half of the Falcons Ridge subdivision, and they are cutting out 4.5 acres out of the 40 plus that are there. This plat's been reviewed, everything's in order and acceptable, and we recommend this be approved.
All right. No one has any questions or comments. We'll move on to the next one, the Robinson.
Okay. Robinson here. This is out in Lake Forest, and if you can see where my cursor is on the front, this was when the Planning Commission approved the subdivision. This was shown as a green area, and that it wasn't actually supposed to be a green area. It was actually supposed to be a shared area because originally this was a multifamily lot, as you see on track MF6A there, instead of being a single family. Well, it's now a single family lot, and no contractor will build their house because it shows that green area and they don't know what the setbacks are. I will show you this here. Up on your screen is a letter that the realtor provided that's signed by the developer, Phil Higdon, and by Sheila Johnson, the HOA president, stating that basically what I just told you, that wasn't supposed to be a green area.
Yeah, Greg, I can't read it.
Okay.
Can you enlarge it?
I'll read the letter then. Dear Mr. Cannon, this letter is a follow-up to our conversation today about the requested revision to the recorded plat of 165 Lake Point Drive in Lake Forest subdivision. The owners of record, Kenny and Susan Robinson, would like to have the recorded green space removed, as it truly is not and never has been green space. The original intent of the developer, Mr. Phil Higdon, was to designate common space for the shared driveways to the multifamily units that exist on Lake Point. The lot in question was combined with another to make it a single family lot, and there will be no shared driveway. Mr. Higdon and Sheila Johnson, the homeowner association president, have agreed that the designated green space should be removed. This plat's been reviewed. Everything's in order and acceptable. We recommend it be approved.
All right, if no one else has any comments or questions, let's move on to the Davis then.
Okay, here's the Davis plat. This is out on Hauser Road. They are cutting out track 1 and track 2, as you see. Everything on this plat's in order and acceptable. We recommend it be approved.
All right. If no questions or comments, we'll move on to the Carroll.
Okay, here's the Carroll plat. This is out on Mayfield Metropolis, and they are creating a property line, as you see. My cursor is here, creating that property line and abolishing the current line between the two parcels. This has been reviewed. Everything's in order and acceptable. We recommend it be approved. And I just got an email from Brent saying that he's having trouble connecting. So he wants me to try to email it to a different email address. So give me a moment. I will see if we can't get him in also.
Yeah, and while we're doing that, I'm getting some background noise from somebody. We may need to mute our line.
I'm receiving a low level of that too.
I am too. It sounds like somebody's talking in the background.
Okay. Let's see here.
Reed apparently is not.
I got the email sent to Brent.
To remind him today that Reed never called, so I guess we'll be working with ADCO on that.
Somebody needs to mute your line, please.
As long as if ADCO hires me.
Somebody's on the telephone, mute your
Yeah,
line.
if you are not a planning commission member, please mute your line. Okay. Hey, I see Brent.
I could hear you guys, you couldn't hear me, and it wouldn't let my camera start.
Aha.
So we're good now. Sorry about that.
Okay. Okay. Are we ready for Hoffer then?
Yes.
Okay. Here is the Hoffer here. This is out on Oaks Road. They are abolishing that center line on track B. They are creating the line between track B and track A. Everything's in order and acceptable. We recommend this plat be approved.
Greg, this is Sonny. I raised a question about the water service note. You said that has been corrected.
Yes.
I can't read it on my screen.
It's not corrected on your screen. It's corrected on the signed plats.
Okay.
All right, I guess we'll move on to the Bartlett.
Okay. Here we go. So this is out on Blandville Road, and Elaine Bartlett has quite a few acres there. She's wanting to give her daughter an extra 1.38 acres. So that is being cut off the parent track and added to the 2 acres that her daughter has up front. So this plat's been reviewed. Everything's in order and acceptable. We recommend it be approved.
All right, if no questions or comments, we'll move on to Hardeman.
Okay, here's Hardeman. This is located out on Vance Lane. I think, without exaggeration, this is the worst lot in McCracken County. It is beyond tiny. And they have a chance to purchase a little over half an acre. This lot will still be non-conforming, but it currently is only big enough to hold the residents. This will at least get it a little bit closer and allow them to have their septic field on their own property. This has been reviewed. Everything's in order, acceptable, and we strongly encourage this one be approved.
Don't we need to have a waiver though attached to this, waiving the 1 acre requirement if it's going to be used for residential purposes?
Not really, because it's already an existing lot and it's already in use. There is a residence on there.
Well, it's been vacant for years. I mean, it's just been an abandoned building for a long time. It's my recollection.
So
Is there somebody living there now?
Hold on, let me find Mike and unmute him. Hey, Mike, can you unmute yourself?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Can you answer that question for us?
I don't believe anybody is using it as a residence right now, no.
But there is a resident sitting on the property currently.
Absolutely, yes.
Well, there's a
But
building,
nobody's in it.
yeah,
And the existing septic is on the proposed parcel A, correct?
That's correct.
So,
And this came from the railroad. It's something they've worked with, but they have had people in this residence. But while we were surveying it, there wasn't anybody in there at the time.
well, I mean, even if they haven't, it's an existing residence, which is the key factor. It's not like it's an undeveloped property.
Right.
yeah.
And
Well, I
all
guess,
the rest of this property, all of it, of course, is owned by the railroad, and they were willing to give this person some extra room to make sure they got their septic tank on there and that they had some building lines that would accommodate what the planning commission regulations require.
has the health department approved the arrangement with the septic?
Yes. They have an approved septic system.
Okay.
It's just always been on the railroad's property.
Yeah, it's a tiny little place. I'm very familiar with it.
So what we're doing is trying to create, as Greg said, it's probably the worst lot in McCracken County by far. And we're trying to make a bad situation a little bit better.
Right.
Now, if this was a completely new lot, Sonny, I absolutely agree. But since this is trying to improve an existing situation, I don't think that's required here.
Yeah, well, I was just raising a question, something that had not occurred to me.
Okay.
Well, if we're all content with it as it is, we'll move on to the Spears then.
Okay. Here, zoomed in a little too far here. Let's see if I can rotate this so we see. There we go. Okay. So and Spears here, you are creating a property line between track 1 and track 2. They are also establishing the boundaries of a cemetery that is present on the property. That cemetery, Mike was unable to find any deed records of it. The only record of it is what is mentioned on the deed to this property. So they're establishing it, and everything's been reviewed and in order. We recommend it be approved.
Yeah. If no one has any questions or comments, do we have a motion?
I move that the request will be given.
Do we have a second?
Second,
Call roll, please.
Commissioner Hausman,
Aye.
Commissioner Metzger,
Aye.
Commissioner Rankin,
Aye.
Commissioner Young,
aye.
and Chair Elliott.
Aye. All right, we're moving on to a public hearing. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing?
Move to open the public hearing for the proposed zone change of the James O. Enlow Incorporated property regarding the application for a zone change for urbanizing residential UR to commercial C for property address of 6010 US Highway 60 PBA map number 066-00-00-071.02. That was advertised for December 16th, 2020.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Call roll, please.
Commissioner Hausman,
Aye.
Commissioner Metzger,
Aye.
Commissioner Rankin,
Aye.
Commissioner Young,
Aye.
and Chair Elliott.
All right, Shawnee Professional Services, would you like to speak?
I'll be happy to. This is Rod on behalf of the James A. Enlow Estate. This piece of property lies at the southwest intersection of US Highway 60 and Maxon Road. Currently, it's zoned as urbanizing residential. We're requesting that the zone be changed to commercial in accordance with the regulations. We've submitted a preliminary development plan with the zone map, and that's shown as the area there that has little parking places designated on it. It's actually going to be a gravel area that's in the middle of your plat there. It's basically a parking area that will be used to store mobile, or not mobile, but rather portable storage units. These are the steel containers that the Enlows are selling. The primary customer base for these units are construction people. We've got, of course, they're used on farms, they're used for security. The service area for these units is basically Western Kentucky, Southern Illinois, Western Tennessee, and Eastern Missouri areas. There will be no offices there. There will be no rentals where people would bring things in and rent or rent space only. They'll strictly be for storage, for sales, and for delivery out of that location to its destination. You can see that majority of the property is in the zone, is in the 100-year flood plain. That's the area designated in blue. The area designated with the shaded with the blue and the hatched long hatches is well within, or is in the floodway. There's no building permitted in the floodway. This, of course, is all along Massac Creek. The area that we plan on developing is actually not in the 100-year floodplain. It is in the 500-year floodplain. The tan or orange or brown area there is designated as a zone X, which is means that it is subject to flooding. Again, it's in the 500-year floodplain, but it is subject to minimal flooding of 1 foot or less. And then the area that is white, again, is still in the 500-year floodplain. It's not in the 100-year floodplain. It is above that area that could be subject to 1 foot or less, but it's still designated as an area that has possible minimal flooding. Even if we get a little bit of water up on it, which we've not seen any water that high, it won't damage any of the units there. There's no residences, there's no office space or anything like that. So, any questions?
Yes, I have some questions for you.
Okay.
What is the current use of the property?
It is farm ground, basically in that lower area, the parts in the floodway. It has been used as farm. I don't even know if it was farmed this last year, last 2 or 3 years, as a matter of fact.
There were soybeans there this year, I
Was
believe.
it? Okay.
Are there any structures on the property now?
No, sir.
Well, you know, one of the questions that the Planning Commission has to address, or one of the threshold questions the Planning Commission has to address, is whether the proposed zone change from urbanizing residential to commercial is in agreement with the comprehensive plan. Can you explain your position with respect to whether or not your proposed change is in agreement with the comprehensive plan?
Yes, Sonny, it is. The comprehensive plan shows this area is zoned commercial. The comprehensive plan also indicates that they should try to protect any areas within the 100-year floodplain. Again, the area that we intend on developing is outside that 100-year floodplain. But it is in agreement with the comprehensive plan.
And do you believe that the existing zoning classification of urbanizing residential is appropriate or inappropriate?
In light of what's going on around that area and that corridor, we think it's inappropriate. We believe the commercial is better suited for that.
Is there commercial development nearby?
Yes, sir. And adjacent to it, Tricky Properties, I guess that's the way it's pronounced, is the golf course or that golf facility where they practice golf or hitting the golf balls, and they think they sell golf carts. You've got catty corner to this is where you've got the that new community building where they do activities. You all probably know more about that than I do. As you go back towards the east in towards Paducah, of course, you got Tractor Supply, and then what is O'Reilly's. Menards is on this side of the highway back towards Paducah.
Given that this property is located in Zone X, according to the flood map, what sort of protections would you be required to install around this property in order to be able to meet, government regulations?
Actually, none. Zone X is outside of the 100-year floodplain. Does not fall within the 100-year floodplain. It does fall within the 500-year floodplain, but the state does not regulate that elevation. Now, from a practical standpoint, what would we do if we get a 500-year rain? That's going to be something that evolves over a longer period of time. We'd simply probably move trailers out, and if we were in fear of it getting up on that parking area, we just take the trailers out.
Well, in this parking area, you mentioned that that's going to be a gravel. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Is there any of that that's going to be an impervious surface?
Yes, it will, and we will have to submit to the McCracken County, to you guys, and for review the floodplain or the stormwater runoff plan. We will have to also, we may end up having to also submit a state application to the state just to show them where we are building, even though they have a permitting for any construction along or near streams. And I'm not absolutely certain, since this is out of the floodplain, it's out of Zone A, whether or not we need to submit that, but we'll certainly address that at that time.
Okay. Will your proposed zone change affect traffic in that area?
No, sir. You've got one vehicle that comes in there periodically to drop a trailer off, and that same vehicle will be pulling out of there at some point when it's rented or sold out of that place to be delivered. The only other thing it'll be is occasionally a passerby will stop in there and take a look at one and call the appropriate people to come by and you're going to talk to them about the sale.
Will the operation of this lot generate noise in the area?
No, sir.
Well, I think you've addressed this, but just to, I guess, address the issue head on, will the proposed zone change give rise to environmental concerns? And what's your plan to address those environmental concerns?
I really can't think of any environmental concerns that we would have. It's there's a field there now with a dirt gravel entrance that was put in by the state when the road was widened. So we're not going to create any more dust than there has been. There's not going to be any noise. There won't be any. You'll have a delivery vehicle that comes in there. If it radiator burst on or something, you might have some localized drainage there, right there on the site, but really don't see any adverse impact at all.
Well, I was out there this morning at the site, and I saw some Jackson Purchase Energy trucks on the property. Do you know if they were working in connection with this plan, or were they just working on their utility lines out there?
It wouldn't have been anything on this plan. No, there's no electric going to be on this. Now I don't know if they were just stopped there on break or if they were working on some other lines or something. I'm not sure.
Yeah, actually they had some pretty heavy looking equipment on there. So I didn't know what was.
Yeah, no, it has nothing to do with this.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
About how many units do they plan on having there maximum at one time?
We've got about 21 spaces, but I doubt very seriously that there'll be that many. Unless, of course, depending on the demand, I guess.
Right. All right, Mr. Cannon, do you have a staff report?
On November 30th, 2020, 5 signs were posted around the property providing the current and requested zoning designation, along with the contact information to be able to take part in this virtual public hearing. Required notice was mailed to adjoining property owners on December 1st, 2020, providing the date, time, and contact information to be able to take part in this virtual public hearing. On December 3rd, 2020, an ad ran in the Paducah Sun providing the same information. Copies of the letter, ad, and pictures of the posted signs are available for your review and will be included in the records of this meeting. The property is currently zoned urbanizing residential, and the future land use map does show this property as commercial. The McCracken County Comprehensive Plan states there are areas of floodplain prone to flash flooding, wetlands, or other natural areas that need to be protected. Floods can result in the loss of life and always involve the loss or damage to property. These areas should have limited development except for water-dependent facilities, essential road crossings, parks, and other recreational uses. Approximately half of this property is located inside the floodway, and most of the remaining property is located in Zone X. For this reason, the staff cannot recommend the zone change be approved.
All right, is there anyone who would like to speak in favor of the zone change?
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to mute everybody so I can try to unmute everybody in case somebody wants to chime in, okay?
All right.
Okay, I've got it now where you can unmute yourselves. You should have a microphone at the bottom of your screen to be able to unmute yourself. I'm going to send a request to all of the Planning Commission members asking you to unmute yourself so that we at least have you all on mic. Anybody else can unmute. So, okay, you should be good to go, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chairman, I apologize, but I lost audio right in the middle of all of that. So I don't know. I did not hear Mr. Cannon's report, and I barely heard your question about the number of units that were going to be on the property. So I don't know where you are at this point. Has there
Well, I
been
think
anybody else?
Rod gave me the answer, approximately 21 is what they're going to plan on starting with.
Okay. And
Greg, I guess, give a version of your staff report then, please.
Actually,
well, I think,
Sonny's got a copy of it.
Oh, all right.
okay. Same report.
Yes.
Okay. And has anybody spoken in favor or in opposition yet?
I just asked if anybody wanted to speak in favor. I hadn't had anybody come forward yet.
All right.
Yeah, all right. Is there anyone who'd like to speak against the zone change? Hearing none, do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Call roll, please.
Commissioner Hausman,
Aye.
Commissioner Metzger,
Aye.
Commissioner Rankin,
Aye.
Commissioner Young,
Aye.
Chair Elliott.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, I do have some comments to address this pending application. Would you like to hear those now or?
Yes, please.
Well, my concern about this application is that we have a precedent that we have followed ever since I've been doing this job, and that is when the future land use plan, which is part of the comprehensive plan, shows what the intended future land use is for a particular piece of property or an area of property, we have gone along with that. And whenever somebody has brought before this commission any application to change a zone from an existing zoning classification to something that is shown that's different in a future land use plan, this commission has adopted it. In addition to that, I think that when you look at the text of the comprehensive plan, I think Mr. Martin kind of hit it on the head when he mentioned that the restrictions in the comprehensive plan really are geared toward the use of property that's located within the 100-year floodplain, and this property is not. This property is within the 500-year floodplain, but is not directly affected by the text of the future land use plan. And in fact, on page 41 of the comprehensive plan, it says a future land use plan should discourage development within the 100-year floodplain. Any development shall be in compliance with all federal, state, and local environmental regulations and federal flood insurance administration. On page 71 of the comprehensive plan, it says that no new development should be allowed to occur within the designated 100-year floodplain areas unless mitigation measures are taken in compliance with all federal, state, and local environmental regulations. And then on page, let's see, on page 73, the comprehensive plan says that while most of the developments are within the city of Paducah, the county has experienced significant commercial growth west along US Highway 60. And I think we've all seen that. And I think everyone is aware of the commercial growth that has taken place in that area. And then finally on page 77, the comprehensive plan says that the primary goal is to assure that building in floodplains is minimum and no residential development occurs. And what we have is a proposal not to build anything on this property, but to put some portable buildings on the property that would be movable if need be, in order to avoid any problems as a result of any flooding that may occur in the area. So I really do think that the proposed application is in agreement with the comprehensive plan. And so I give that to you as my advice to the commission, that I believe the application is properly before you and is in agreement with the comprehensive plan. And even if it's not, even if you consider that it's not, you still have the fact that this is currently zoned residential, and it's obvious that the property is not suitable for residential development by any means. And even the comprehensive
Actually, can I address that?
And even the comprehensive plan says that you cannot have residential development in the floodplain. And so I think that commercial use of this property, and especially the type of commercial use that we're talking about that doesn't really involve the addition of any buildings on the property, would be a more appropriate use for the property. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks, sir. Greg, you have something to say?
Yeah, in regards to whether or not it's consistent with comprehensive plan and what we've done in the past. In the past, we've never had a zone change, at least while I've been here, come up where there was a question whether or not it was consistent with the text of the comprehensive plan. So the only thing we had to look at and address was the future land use map itself. So to say that we hadn't looked at that before is disingenuous at best. As far as the current zoning of urbanizing residential, a permitted use in the urbanizing residential zone is agricultural uses. And this tract of land is large enough, it meets agricultural uses. That's what it's been done. So to say that that's an improper zone is not accurate. And to zone it urbanizing residential, the purpose there is because that is the most restrictive zone. And when you've got a property that's in the floodway and you're asking to rezone a floodway into commercial development, you open things up. And so that's part of the reasoning for the initial zoning of urbanizing residential.
Anyone else have any questions or comments?
I would just add, Mr. Chairman, a couple of things. First of all, you're not opening up anything in the floodway itself. That's still going to be regulated by state of Kentucky. So the majority of the property will not be, they're going to permit that unless the proper mitigation takes place, which is what your comprehensive plan refers to. Again, it refers in several places in the comprehensive plan, it refers to no development within the 100-year floodplain. And we do not intend to develop within the 100-year floodplain. We've selected a spot there that's out of that will be protected. If the minimal amount of water on that site, if it does happen to get there, and we have a method of eliminating any damage. Also, if you take a look at, and I know you can't say, well, the guy down the street did it and you need to let me too, but if you look at some of the areas in development along Massac Creek, for instance, the down by the Sportsplex, you've got apparently a new building going in there. That's all within a matter of fact, some of the building itself is now within, or the old building is now within the floodway itself. And I know when that was being built, there were some mitigation efforts taken through by the owner to the state to get some of that construction done, but they're down there now improving even more of that and bringing in quite a bit of fill. So I'm sure that's under the purview of the state to regulate that. We feel like this is a good use for that. We feel like it's a good place for it. It doesn't impact the neighborhood and certainly doesn't impact the environment.
No one else, do we have a motion? Don't all speak at once now.
Well, I'm gonna move to approve the map amendment. Change the zone classification property of James O. Enlow Incorporated, address of 610 US Highway 60 and PBA map 06600-071.02 from urbanizing residential to commercial.
All right, I had a little break in the sound here. You said approve, you made the motion for approve, correct?
To approve.
All right. Do we have a second?
Mr. Chairman, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay. Would it be in order to bring other people to this meeting to give some legal opinions of the legality of that if you were to table the motion, if it is to die from a lack of a second?
Well, I don't think it's going to die from lack of a second. If you'll just bear with us.
Okay.
All right. I think according to Robert's Rules of Order, I can second the motion just so we'll vote on it. Does anybody disagree with that aspect? As the chairman can second a motion. That was what I was always taught. Robert's Rules of Order.
I believe you're correct. It's a common misconception that a chair cannot make motions or second motions, but they're.
Right. I am going to second the motion, so we will be voting. Call roll, please.
Okay. Commissioner Hausman,
Aye.
Commissioner Metzger,
Aye.
Commissioner Rankin,
No.
Commissioner Young,
No.
and Chair Elliott.
Oh.
Okay, motion passes.
All right. Does anyone have any public comments to make at this time? All right, moving on to bills to be approved. Do we have a motion?
I have a motion that we pay the bills to, McMurray and Livingston, 800.
175.
175.
You have last month's.
No, that's not right. It's not 175. It's $840. You go just give that 175. No, that's just for the.
I like that number much better. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
The 175 is what is due. The other's already been paid.
Okay, but the balance due down there is not what is due.
Correct. We've already.
So all he is due is 175.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Right.
Keep track of this monthly. Trust me. I know.
All right, do we have a second to the 175?
Second.
All right, call roll on 175.
Commissioner Hausman. Commissioner Metzger.
Aye.
Commissioner Rankin. Commissioner Young.
Aye.
And Chair Elliott.
Well, I don't believe there's a need for an executive session. Is there? Anyone?
Nothing that I'm aware of.
All right. So I guess, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We'll go through the preliminary and go ahead and call roll.
Okay. Commissioner Hausman.
Aye.
Commissioner Metzger.
Aye.
Commissioner Rankin.
Aye.
Commissioner Young.
Aye.
Chair Elliott.
Well, Merry Christmas to everyone.
There you go.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Hopefully,
Wayne, I'll give you a
we'll all
call
stay
here in a
safe
few
and
minutes.
healthy. All right.
Okay, y'all have a Merry Christmas.
You too. Bye now.